can understand what's happening, today, then everything we do will make sense. If you don't understand, if this doesn't make sense to you, what we talk about today, then nothing we do will really make any sense why we do it, as far as how to manage, how to reduce, how to prevent stress. This is the foundation for it all. And it's not hard to understand, and you've probably heard some version of this before, but I'm going to try to explain it in a way that makes perfect sense. So you will have a really good idea of why stress happens in your experience, because there's really only one real reason. All right. Now, the other day, let's see, what is today? Thursday? Tuesday, we started out the class, well, when we got into it, I had you check your pulse, and we had you check your heart rate, your breathing rate, and where you breathe from, and a few other things. Somebody tell me why I would care about that. Why would I care about your pulse? Why would I care about your, where you're breathing from? What does that have to do with anything? Scott?
Because of your stress level, you're more expensive you're breathing more rapidly and has a higher pressure.
Really? So I can just think about, oh, geez, this is a really rotten day. And suddenly I change my breathing? And my heart rate? Why is that? It's kind of magic, it sounds to me. I'm just going to make my heart beat faster. Go. Yes. Why does that happen?
Well, I think it goes back to some kind of evolutionary thing where back in the day we used to get stressed by really big things.
Okay, stop. Okay, because yes, you're right, and I'm going to tell the whole story.
Okay.
And thanks, Doug. So here's the reason, and you're exactly right, Doug, and we're going to explain I'm going to give you the whole story of what Doug was starting to tell us about. And I want to take you through this scenario. So I want us all to imagine for a second that we are living 5,000 years ago. Okay, just really picture in your mind that we are time travelers, and we get to go back to 5,000, let's say 7,000, 5,000 BC. Okay, we're all there now. Can you picture that? Okay, and there's no buildings, there's no electricity, we're out in the wilds, right? Can you picture that? And we happen to all live in the same neighborhood. We live up on the East Bench of this city, this where we live. Okay? And I have invited all of you over to my estate, whatever we are living in, for a barbecue. Okay, we've just killed some big, whatever we ate back then, some big animal, and it's on the fire, and it's, somebody's making it go around, and we're going to have a barbecue. Okay, and a few of us are playing croquet. Some of us have our 9 irons, working on our short game, and we're just hanging out, having a good time. Okay, can you picture that? Now, while we're in this place, I live close to a forest. So here's my house, or my place, my hut, whatever we live in. And there's, all the lawn and stuff. And then there's a forest. And we're all hanging out, happy, content. But we hear this rustling from the woods. There's some brushes there, some bushes, and then suddenly there emerges from this bush, these bushes, a huge bear. Okay, gigantic, big black bear. And he has smelled some of our food that's on the fire, and he wants some. Okay, can you picture that? All right. Now, let's say that you're near the food. You're near this, whatever, elk this moose that's going around on the fire. And you see this bear running at you. What's going to be the first thought that's going to happen in your head when you see this bear coming straight at you, running, full blast, teeth? What's the first thought you're going to have? Run? No, run's not the first thought. It will be more like crap. Or some other expletive that sounds like uh-oh. Oh, crap. Something of that ilk. Now, why do you say that? What is it in your mind that you think to make you say, oh, crap, uh-oh? There's danger. Yeah. You're inside your head, you're thinking, I'm in danger. Bad things are about to happen. And what are those bad things that you're thinking are likely to happen? What? Bear's going to eat me. I'm going to get dead here soon. Or I'm going to hurt physically real soon. That's why we have that uh-oh thought. Right? Very natural that we have that. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, after we have that first thought of, oh my gosh, I'm in danger, then what's the next thought that will follow that naturally? So run, right? So this leads to the run thought. Why do you have that thought? Really, why do you have it? I mean, just be logical. Why would you have that thought? Run. So you're not going to get eaten. Right. So you're going to stay safe. Because we like to feel safe. More than just about anything, we like to feel safe. You might have another thought. If your kids aren't so fast, or your friends, you might have another thought. And what is it? Besides run? Fight. Yeah. So you take your 9-iron or your croquet mallet, and you're getting ready. All of your muscles are tightening up to beat the tar out of this bear so that you remain safe. Because we love to stay safe. And to keep the people we love, who we feel are a part of us, safe. Does that make sense? So we have one of these two thoughts, either run or fight or both, that happen after we have this uh-oh thought. Now, this part, and we'll get into this a little later on, but this part to here is conscious. At the point that we have, as soon as we have this thought, this is unconscious. In other words, it just happens. It's part of our autonomic nervous system. It just happens. Okay? We think, uh-oh, then it naturally, the next thought is run. Now, as soon as we have that thought, okay, we good to there? Does that make sense? It's pretty simple, right? As soon as we have that thought, run or fight, then we have a huge flood of activity that happens physiologically. Not mentally anymore. We're not thinking anything anymore, although there still will be some thinking going on, but we have this huge flood of physiology that takes place that allows us to run fast or be very powerful. So let's just go through this, and this is not new, I'm sure, to most of us. What are some of these things that take place immediately I mean, as soon as you think, I got to get out of here, what are some of these things that take place? Okay. Increase in heart rate. You said increase in adrenaline. What is adrenaline? It's a hormone. There's actually another hormone involved also in this process. Do you know what it is? There's adrenaline, because we always say, well, adrenaline, I'm getting an adrenaline rush. You're also getting some of this other hormone. Do you know what it is? Yeah, nobody knows the other one. It probably feels left out because nobody ever talks to it. But it's cortisol. So you have an increase in cortisol, and these two hormones flood every cell of the body, really. I mean, they comes out of your adrenal glands after you get the message sent to there, and it just floods there. We've all felt this. Okay, what else happens? There's a long list. We'll hit a few of those.
A lot of your internal organs kind of shut down, like blood flow to them, and it goes to your muscles instead.
Okay, so we have things. Let's do, this will be our things that turn on column, and this will be our things that turn off column. Okay, and we'll kind of hit both of those. So we'll say blood flow shunts to muscles. Okay, so it kind of diverts itself from a lot of the systems in the body and goes, yes, to the muscles. Okay, what else? What other things take place? You can't answer anymore. Just think about this logically. What else is going to happen in your body so that you're suddenly strong and you're suddenly fast? Okay, good. There might be a change in your thinking. Now, I think this is fascinating. You won't find this in most or any textbook, but still, I'm pretty sure this is. I mean, I like this little analogy. Let's pretend, or let's imagine that we're looking at our mind. And I'm going to separate the mind into two parts. So here's our mind. And we're going to call this part of our mind our Einstein brain. And this part of our mind our lizard brain. Okay? The Einstein brain is that part of us that, thinks and deduces and theorizes. It's like, okay, today's Monday. I think I'll go to school today because I'll go learn some things, and that's what I do on Mondays. It asks questions and then answers it. Why is there air? Oh, because I need to breathe. It figures things out. I mean, those are lame examples, but we're always using our Einstein brain when we're doing most things that we do. Our lizard brain, on the other hand, is that part of us. Well, have you ever been walking or running on a trail and you come upon a lizard and you just miss him? You're running along. What does the lizard do? What? It changes colors? Oh, it does? Really? Yeah. Okay. So while it's changing colors, then what does it do? I've never noticed.
Well, some of them.
Okay. It does what? Yeah, does it go, wow, he's huge. And why am I so small in comparison? And that ant, man, he's small too. But I'm bigger than him. Why is that? Let's postulate about that for a while. No. What does the lizard think? I got to get out of here, right? And you watch it, and it just goes zzz. It's like, there it is, and then zzz, it's over there, and then it's found 7 holes to choose from, and suddenly it's gone, right? When we're in this stress mode, and this is really important for us as we get into the effects of stress later on, when we're in the stress mode, the Einstein brain turns off. That part of our mind that thinks clearly, that makes wise decisions about things like tests, for example, or choices that we need to make throughout the day or in our lives, it turns off. We don't need that right now. And the lizard brain cranks. Okay? So yeah, you're right. We are able to see clearly. I had one student in here once who she was watching a little child get run over by a car, and she was about, what do they call it? A cul-de-sac away. She was like, it was in the street, and she was at the end of the cul-de-sac. And she saw this child almost get run over by the car. And in an instant, she was suddenly, she doesn't know how she did this, but in an instant, she was there. Time changed for her. She said, I don't know how I did this, but suddenly I was right there and doing what I could to keep this child, because she saw it. She didn't get run over, but she saw that it was going to happen. And in an instant, she was there. She had super powerful speech. She had superpowers. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. We've all had that kind of, I got to get out of here. I can see clearly how to do that experience. Okay, what else takes place? Long list. Let's hit some more. When you are running from this bear or needing to run from the bear, what else is happening in your body? Okay. Increase in breathing rate. Why do you do that? Yeah. So you get more oxygen in, and that oxygen immediately spreads to all of your muscles. More oxygen in the muscles, more power. Uses that as to burn energy. Okay, what else? Keep coming.
The muscles tighten.
Okay, muscles tighten. Which ones? Big ones, yeah. Our running and fighting muscles. So from here, shoulders are involved in fighting. Back, legs, butt, all of our, they're ready to go. And they're tensing up instantly. We have, they're like on, they're contracting. Okay, good. What else? Keep them coming. What else is happening? Let me throw out some things and see what you think. What about, we mentioned that blood flows primarily to the muscles, which means it doesn't go to places like, have you ever noticed when you're really stressed, your hands, are they warm or cold? Cold. That's actually, the reason for that is there's actually less blood flow going there. Same with your feet. Does your blood tend to thicken or become thicker, do you think? Think about what's happening logically. Is your blood going to become, because it does, one or the other, does it become thicker or more fluid? Why do you think? That's right. Now, the funny thing about this is it also thickens at the peripheral level. We have blood thickens and thins. It thins inside, so blood will flow through the arteries more quickly. But at the peripheral, at the skin level, it becomes easier to coagulate. Why do you think that is? Right. So if you're running from this bear, and suddenly you come up against a rose bush, and it rips your arm, and blood starts, it's going to dry up. It's going to coagulate. It's going to clot more. Survival. It's going to keep you alive. What happens to your sensitivity to pain? Goes down. Why do you think? Right. So if you're running, You know, you're running from the bear, and you suddenly, oh, jeez, your ankle, you won't notice it. Because, yeah, your mind is more thinking, geez, I can't worry about this. I've got to save me. I've got to get to safety. Okay, let's play with, we could go on and on with this. What are some things that naturally are going to turn off? That you don't necessarily need when you're running from the bear?
Digestion.
Okay, so digestion will turn down. So how will that look? You'll have, you know, you've got stomach juices, acids and alkalins that are breaking up the food. You know, you go to lunch today and you eat a hamburger, right? Hope not. But if you eat a hamburger and you take 3 bites and suddenly it's down there in your stomach, well, it's got to go through holes, capillaries that are, you know, microscopic. Something's got to break that hamburger down since you didn't in your mouth. And so these digestive juices, that's their job, right? Isn't that accurate? Well, when you're in the stress response, when you're running from the bear, there is the combination of the acids and alkalins that are in there changes. So you get acid reflux. Have you ever had that? Where you just have that acid indigestion? What do you take for that? You ever had that? What do you do with that? Or just let it happen? I mean, it'll take care of itself? What do you take something for it? What do you take? What's the medicine made of? They call it an antacid, right? Right. The antacid is designed to reestablish that balance of acids and alkalins in your... So it takes it way out of balance. Okay, what else is going to turn off? What else are you not going to need here? Salivary glands. Okay, yeah, you don't need those, probably. Salivary glands. How about your reproductive system? Is that going to be activated and on full blast, going, whatever? No. You don't need that. So that whole system and everything about it stops working normally. What's the system in your body that keeps, when somebody over here coughs and those little molecules waft into the air and we all go, and we don't get sick after all, even though they're, you know, maybe it's a virus that tries to lodge in our throat, but we don't get sick. What is it that's keeping that from happening? The immune system. Tons of research have shown that when you're in the stress response, the immune system is amazingly compromised. So we don't need the immune system. Let's see, what else can we look at? What happens to your hair? That's interesting. Turns gray? Just all of a sudden?
No, over time.
It stands up. You ever seen a cat there's a dog comes over and the cat, suddenly it's huge, right? Why does it do that? What's the natural reason for that happening?
It makes you look bigger.
Yeah, it makes the cat look huge, and the dog goes, oh, well, maybe I better not. Well, we have that same thing, although we just don't have any more hair like that. But we used to, apparently, 5,000, 10,000. We used to have that much hair, and it would stand on for that very reason, so we would look menacing to this threat that's coming at us. So hair stands on end. What about, this is interesting. I mean, we go all day on just the physiology of the stress response. Do you tend to sweat more or less? Why? Okay, that's the reason when you're exercising, but there's another reason why you sweat more, and that's the very reason why you exercise. When you exercise, why you sweat. But when you're in the stress response, there is a reason why you sweat.
It makes you slippery if you're fighting someone.
Yeah.
Fall off it.
That's the reason. Believe it or not, I mean, that sounds kooky as can be, but the reason why we sweat when we're stressed, because when the big bear tries to grab us, it's not going to be able to get such a good grip. When I first heard that, I went, no way. But if you think about it, I mean, all of these things are designed to help us survive. So we sweat. We also stink. You know, there's a difference between sweating. I mean, you work out and you sweat and you don't smell so bad. But if you've ever been around somebody who's really stressed, go to the testing center and you just, oh, man. Well, there's a reason for that. Your body naturally emits this odor to make it so the bear doesn't want. It's less appealing to the bear. Really? Let's see. What other common things can we... Anything else come to your minds? Nervous system. Yeah, that goes along with this part. We also become more, well, some of our senses turn down, so because we don't need to really worry about smelling stuff. We don't have to worry about hearing things unless it's going to help us for safety.
Would you say that your alertness goes, like I was trying to think, does it go up or does it go down? Because maybe we're more alert just for ourselves?
This part, yeah. Absolutely. You become far more alert in the moment. I used to do this, and I'm not very proud of it, but when I was in high school, we played baseball. And in the off-season, this was down in Provo, in the wintertime, we couldn't play at all, so we actually would get together with all of our friends, and we would, when it snowed, there was a place in our neighborhood where there was this hedge, and we'd get behind this hedge, and there was a road there, and the cars would come by, and we'd just, bam, like I said, I'm not very proud of this, but we did this nonetheless to keep our arms in shape for baseball. Well, the coolest thing of all, we were trying for the best dent sound. Whoever got the best dent sound that night won the prize. But the coolest thing would be when they would stop and then they'd chase us. Because we knew our neighborhood like the back of our hands, and these people wouldn't know our neighborhood. So they'd try to chase us, and we'd in that time when we were being chased, it was like eyesight was clearer. We suddenly were able to jump over hedges that were like this high. Clear visibility, clear awareness of where I needed to go, depending on where we knew he was coming from. We intentionally turned on the stress response. Kind of felt good, I guess. It was fun. But yes, we definitely had change in awareness. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Because blood flow, everything about you is going to be quicker, and your muscles are all ready to be moving instead of hanging out. They're like ready. Pupils, do they dilate or constrict? They dilate. Dilate, how come? More light gets in so you can see more. Now, all of these things. So we've made a long list, and in the book there's even more things. Here's the main point, though. All of these things happen after we say, oh, crap, for one single purpose. What is that purpose? Yes, physical survival. Okay? This is designed to keep us alive and keep us out of physical pain. it has no other purpose for being part of our body systems, to being involved with any of our body systems. None. As far as any researcher can show, can demonstrate to this point, there's no reason other than keeping us alive physically that we have this stress response. Get that. I mean, that's unbelievably important for you. This stress response, the stress you have, is designed to keep you physically alive and out of physical pain, and for no other reason. None. Well, that sucks, as the penguin said. Okay, and here's how it looks. This is how it's designed to look because of our ancestors. Here we are. We're playing, croquet, working on our short game, and the bear shows up. We're going to call the bear a threat. Is this threat real? Yeah, absolutely, right? And we go through this fight or flight response where all of these things flood our, we're suddenly super powerful. We're suddenly super quick. It starts immediately. Now, how long is this designed to last? And how long was that usually for our ancestors? Either we were safe or we were eaten up in how much time? Yeah. This is designed to last 2 to 3 minutes. So our bodies are equipped to be out of balance like this for about 2 to 3 minutes, tops. And then, so we're safe from the bear, and we go through this period of exhaustion. You're spent after you've been running from the bear or being chased by. You're exhausted. You're not back to normal. This is normal right here, homeostasis. Homeostasis. So we're normal, and we're far more exhausted afterwards because it takes a tremendous amount of energy to run from the bear or fight the bear. Does that make sense to everyone? And then after a while, we're back to normal, and we're back to playing croquet and working on our 9 irons shots. Okay, any questions to that point? I mean, does that make sense for everybody? Yes? We good with that? We clear? Its only purpose is to keep us physically alive. Okay, so here's what I want to do. Really quickly, I want each of you for just a minute to think back to the last month of your life. Does anyone have a calculator on hand by chance? You have one? Could you be my calculator guy? So, what's your name? Jordan. Jordan, okay. Well, I want you to think back to the last month of your life, okay, from, what's today, the 27th? So from July 27th to today, okay, those 31 days. Yeah, 31 days. I want you to think about every day of your last month and tell me, and I'm going to ask each one of you, I want you to tell me how much time of if you added up all of those days, how much time you spent in situations that were the equivalent of the big bear chasing you. So you were actually in danger, could have died from the event. Okay, does that make sense? So think back to any major event that happened where you were really in danger. Okay, and what I'm going to have you do is keep track. I'll tell you what to put in there, Doug.
What if there like could have been danger? Like you didn't know that there could have.
No, they have to be were in danger.
Well, like, but you were stressed like there was because
No,
you didn't.
that doesn't count. We'll see what you mean by that. I mean, we'll see what your example is. So I'm going to start with you. And think back, and it may be 0. It may be no time at all in the last month where you were for real in danger. Can you think of any situations?
Not that I was in danger. Like if it was a situation where like this still happened, but it wasn't me in danger to somebody else, then yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah.
With the person?
Yeah.
So what was it? Unless it's too personal.
It was actually just a fight. It was my boyfriend and somebody, and this is like that's like what happened to me. So
Okay.
I got in like this mode where.
Okay, so were you possibly at risk of getting hurt?
Yeah, because I got in between.
Okay, well, you did. Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did that last? The real time that you were in between them, where they were slugging and you're like, wait.
Probably like less than a minute, even though it felt like, I don't know, it felt longer probably.
Okay, but actual time, what would you say?
Probably a minute or two.
Okay, just so write 1. So do a 1. Okay, Courtney, what? Can you think of anything?
No.
Nothing? Nothing for you? 0? We always have more in the winter time because people are driving,
Yeah.
right? Nothing? You guys need to do more active stuff.
Okay, so.
What was your situation?
Well, I've got like 5 situations.
Okay.
So, like I arrest people for a living down at the gateway, like pretty much. And
You
I
wrestle?
Arrest.
Oh, arrest.
I do security down there.
Oh, okay.
We deal with a lot of homeless people, and a lot of them carry weapons, but you never know which ones do. And so, like, I've been in like 5 fights in the last month.
Okay, and those I'd call legitimate. How much time did you spend actually in the fighting situations?
Probably a max of 2 minutes each. Max.
So 10, add 10. Okay, I'll go with that. Nothing? Nothing comes to mind? 0? Nothing?
1.
What happened?
I was working outside on a phone box, and there down in Arkansas, there's the big red wasp that huge.
Oh,
Their nest was actually in the phone box. And I opened it, and
I'll go with that one. Good example. How long did that last? Okay, a full minute. Wow, that's a long time. I mean, if you're getting chased by a wasp, that's a long time.
well, I had to go back to watch the.
So maybe more than,
Well, total time about a minute.
okay, so add another minute, thank you. 0? Nothing? How about you? 0? Zip? 0? Nada.
I can think of 2
Okay?
from last weekend of going 4-lane, and we were
Oh.
coming down a canyon going probably like 40, and a car
Really?
it's like a 1-lane, like I don't know if you guys have ever, it's up by Jackson Hole, but just going, and the car came around the corner while we came around the corner, and luckily we barely missed it.
So you were pretty close to getting hit.
Uh-huh.
Okay, how long did that last?
Probably like 30 seconds.
30?
It was like by the time we slid, and then
But real actual, that's one slow. There. But okay, we'll go with it. So, and you said you had 2?
yeah, and then just me and my friend were on a ranger too up at my cabin, and someone actually rolled it like a week before, so it wasn't like we should have been riding it anyways because it was broken, and so it rolled on us like it tipped over on the side of the mountain.
Oh, it did? Oh, you didn't get hurt though.
We were good.
Good
but
thing.
It was scary.
How long did that last?
Probably like 15 seconds.
Okay, so add 1, Add one more. Thank you. That's good.
I would say a couple minutes, so probably 2 minutes. I was,
You know.
I cleaned windows and I was up on the roof one day,
Mm-hmm.
and I slipped and I almost fell off the roof, and just kind of the situation of being like, kind of like holding myself with one arm, trying to figure out what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So just a couple,
Okay.
probably 3 minutes.
Good. That's a good example. I'll take that one. 0? Nothing?
When we went river rafting up in Jackson, and our whole thing flipped, and we had a bunch of little kids and all our kids like that, so I
Wow.
spend the time with my parents and the kids.
Okay.
And everything in, and
I'll take that one. How long did that last?
I honestly don't know, 'cause it seemed like forever. to
Did it?
Get everyone in and find everything and get it in, and then the water's freezing.
Yeah.
Bodies freaking out, trying to make sure.
So 3 minutes, 5 minutes?
Yeah, probably 3 or 5.
Okay. Give it a 4. Good one. Okay. Nothing?
I almost got in a car accident, and then
How long did it last?
probably like
The actual in the accident almost part.
30
30?
seconds.
Okay.
And then I went river rafting too, and I almost died. So like
Same kind of deal. He flipped over, got under the boat or something, or couldn't come up for air.
probably like 3 minutes.
That lasted. Okay. So, what was your so 4 more? I'm glad you made it. Was it scary?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I had like a lot of split-second ones.
So if you added them all together,
Well, a couple hours, 20 split-second little guys. I don't know, maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, that's
They
all?
don't last that long.
Yeah.
You can come around a corner and go off the edge.
Right.
It doesn't last, maybe fractions of a second.
Right. Right. Good. That's a good example. So put one more.
About 15 seconds. I was driving to work one night, and this guy decided to drive down my lane to enforce me, and then slamming my horn into
Oh.
the broke off.
Really? Ooh, scary. So 15 more seconds. Give it a 1. We'll kind of round for the sake of this math. Okay, thanks, Scott.
I'll say that I work with adults with disabilities with behavior problems. I think it
Oh.
physically,
So they actually come after you.
yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. So 1. Nothing? Nothing? Anything? Oh, we already asked you guys. Okay. Now, so here's the math that I'd like you to do. Jordan, right? What's the total right there? 26? Okay. Now, I want you to do this math. Let's just say we have 35 people. Multiply that by 30 days. There's 31, but it's easier this way. Times 24 hours in a day times 60 minutes in an hour. And that will give us the combined total number of minutes collectively that we lived last month. What do you get? Okay. Now I want you to divide 26 into that. So that equals 0.00 what? Okay. So I'm just going to say far less than 1%. Okay, so the collective amount of actual stress, in other words, not actual, but appropriate stress that we've felt in this room, that we've had in this room, where we did actually need the stress response at all, was less than 1% of our time. Does that make sense, what we just did? Okay. Now, how many of you on that stressometer that we filled out yesterday, the first question on the survey, put 3 or higher? How many of you wrote down a 3 or a higher, or anything higher than that? Did anyone write a 3 or a 2 or a 1? Okay, what's the immediate question that comes to our minds? If we're never in situations that warrant the stress response, why are we at all stressed? Why would we even think about, oh, stress? If we're never in situations where the stress response will help us out. Kind of ticks you off, doesn't it? Oh, shoot, I should never be stressed if I'm never in a stressful situation. What's going on? I mean, this is a legitimate question. Why would we ever have any stress problems if we're never, I mean, far less than 1% of the time in stressful situations? Jordan?
There's an emotional mental stress that we put on ourselves, job, school, family life.
But we're not in danger.
So why do we even have a stress thing?
A thing?
Like the stress response, why do we even have it?
Oh, because we want it in those occasional times when we are underwater. You know, when you're underwater, what's going on for you? The two of you who are underwater, really, what was going on for you when that was taking place? Yeah, and what did you find yourself just not caring about anything but getting above water? I mean, was that, and you were just like swimming at full whatever power you had? I mean, didn't you find yourself just totally focused on get me air? We want it in those times. We love that we have this stress response because it does keep us alive in those occasional times. I remember one time I do a lot of biking as well, and I was mountain biking up in an area above North Ogden, in that hill that goes up underneath Ben Lomond. And I'd been riding for quite a while, and I came around this corner, and all of a sudden I was really tired, really quite tired. And I came around this corner. There was a big tree or a bunch of bushes here, and I came around this corner not very quick, and I was going back up the hill again, and I heard this sound, you know, and they say there's snakes up there, rattlesnakes, but I'd never seen one. But in that instant, I heard that sound. Oh my gosh, I had more power. For the next 50 or 100 yards, I was flying up the hill. I was just loaded. Then I was gone. I said, I'm wasted. But in that little bit of time, I had an unbelievable amount of strength. We want that for those occasions when we really are in danger, like underwater and can't get up. But your question is still a good one. Why would we have it otherwise? Makes no sense, right? Tick you off. Geez, I'm stressed all the time. I can't help it. Can I use you for a second? Would you mind coming up here? Your name is?
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, just stand right here. Let's see. Now I want you all to pretend for a second that you're Sarah. All right? Wouldn't that be cool? Probably would be cool. Have you ever been to a Utah Jazz game?
No.
Have you ever been to like a major league or a college basketball or football game?
No.
Never? Let's see now. I'm going to need somebody else.
Actually, yeah, I did. Utah State.
Oh.
I went there for
Okay. Was it a basketball or football game or baseball game or what?
basketball and football.
Oh, okay. So, Sarah, let's say that you go to a game, the Aggies are playing, and, you know, let's say it's the basketball game. And you get there early, and the guys are all warming up. You know, they're doing their layups, they're passing, they're stretching out. And then they go in the locker room, they come back out, and then they introduce them, and then they do the National Anthem, and then they start the game, right? Does that sound familiar? Okay, so what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to take this. I'd like you to pretend that you are at the Aggies game, the Utah State game, and the players have just all been introduced, and now it's time for the National Anthem, and I'd like you to sing it. Okay? Just just that's your microphone. And I'd like you to, and they rarely do they use like accompaniment. They just sing a cappella. I'd like you to sing it like you would if you were at that. You're the National Anthem singer. Yeah, just let it go.
I can't.
You can't? Do you know the words?
Yeah.
Then you probably could.
Yeah.
So just let it go. Just
No.
you know the first line? So let's hear how it would sound.
I can't.
You've never done it before?
No, not in front of people. No.
But you've done it before though, right?
But people-
So you can. You don't want to, but you can though, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and just let's give her some support. Just come on, you can do it. Just let it.
Just the first line?
No, just do the song. Just let it out.
I can't. Sorry.
Please?
I can't. No.
I'll give you a D. If you don't.
If you give me an A, then we'll talk.
Okay, here. Okay. Now, you're not off the hook yet, though. She's sweating.
No.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Well, first of all, Sarah, if you were at your house and vacuuming or doing dishes or taking a shower just by yourself, nobody was around for a block, would you have had any problem pretending you're at the Utah State game singing the national anthem?
No.
You would have just done it, right? What's the difference between at your house vacuuming or here it's the same song both times? What's the difference? Why would you, ain't no way you're doing it here, and at your house, oh, no problem at all. What's the difference?
I can't perform in front of people, and
You don't want to. You could, right?
yeah.
And why not? What is it about being in front of people that's different than at your house, in your mind? And you're not different than anybody else here. So we're all kind of, oh yeah, that's me too. Well, before I ask you that, is there anyone in here who would have no problem coming up here and singing? There's probably a few, you know, who's, oh, no, I'll sing it. I wouldn't. But Doug, probably you could, okay? The rest of us, no way. Especially second day of class, don't know a soul in here. So what's going on in our head that's different here than at our house if it's the same exact experience? There's no difference whatsoever. Why is it, what's different about it in our heads?
People are judging us.
Okay. What does that mean for us if somebody's judging us? How do we construct that or perceive that in our head?
Maybe sort of insecurity.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm so insecure with the
Okay.
no.
Do you know what they're saying in their heads? But we think that we do. We think, oh, they're going to think all these bad things about me, right? Isn't that true? Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, when you came up here and I said, all right, here's the microphone, will you sing? What happened to you first with your thoughts, besides you jerk? What thought did you have in your head, and what did you notice about, your being here that changed from before I said, here's the microphone? Did you notice anything? What thoughts started happening in your head?
Are you kidding?
That's,
And why is it that you said, I can't do this? Why did you say that line? What made you say, I can't do this? What thought brought that line on? Our Einstein brain really turns off because this is a good example where we get chaotic thoughts. We don't know what's going on. All you wanted to do probably was sit down, right? Get out of here. Run. Isn't it interesting that we're so sure of what everyone's going to think about us? You know what you said. We're constructing in our head, oh, geez, they're going to think I am the worst whatever because I try to sing this song. Now, what's really happening, and this is so important, what's really happening here is every time we think to ourselves anything that has the word uh-oh in it. And like Jordan said, it makes no difference if it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social. It makes no difference whatsoever. All we have to do is say, uh-oh. And then remember how I said the rest of it is unconscious? Well, it is. You say, uh-oh, I'm going to have to sing. Your body goes, oh, she must be in danger here. And on goes the stress response. It can't help it. That's the amazing thing about the stress response is it doesn't know that you're not really in danger. It just hears your self-talk, your mental words, and if anything includes, oh, geez, I don't think so, then it goes, oh, I better prepare for all it knows, physical danger. It doesn't know that there's an emotional, mental, social realm. The stress response only goes, oh, she must be in danger. Okay, I better get my heart rate going, get my blood pressure going, get my breathing faster, get my blood flow changing, muscles tensing up. It doesn't know why. It just is an obedient servant to your uh-oh thought. Does that make sense for everyone? So we call stress, here's the definition of stress. Here's the only true definition. Stress is the body's natural physiological response to a perceived threat. It's the body's natural physiological response, what the body naturally does in the presence of a perceived threat. Now, what's the operative word there? What's the important word in there, do you think? Perceived, exactly. It makes no difference. Does anyone here, do we have any athletes in here? Scott, you're a basketball, you said, oh wait, it was a baseball. You're a baseball junkie, okay? When is a batter going to do, if you got a batter who's up to the plate, when is he going to perform the worst? Given the same physical talent, what situations is he likely to perform the worst in? And why do you say that? Okay, now listen to what he just said, because you're exactly right. If he says in his mind, oh man, if I strike out, then we're going to lose, which sounds like, oh crap. And the body goes, oh, well, I better get ready for running or fighting, not hitting a fastball, which are two different things. Hitting a fastball requires really keen eye and perfect timing. Any of you golf? Golfing is a perfect example. If you're lining up a putt and suddenly you go, oh, geez, I don't know if I'm going to make this, and if I do, if I miss it, I'll lose. Uh-oh. How are you likely to hit the putt? You'll boom. Hard, right? Because your fighting running muscles are turning on. Those fighting muscles are strong. So you're going to go chink. Oh, jeez. when you're taking a test, when you're taking, a chemistry test, do you want Einstein or the lizard on? You want Einstein. But when you go to the testing center and you're going, oh man, bad things are going to happen if I blow this test. So you're saying, uh-oh, over and over and over again. Well, who's going to leave? You've had this experience probably where you're in the middle of a test and you just blank out. Or at the beginning of a test, you look at it and you go, oh, geez, I don't remember any of this stuff. Have you had that? And you try to remember, and you've been studying for days. You sit down for the test, nothing's coming to your mind. Well, it's because you've been saying, uh-oh, all day long, and your lizard brain goes, well, I've got to get out of here, not work on it. Einstein's not part of this picture. The smartest thing we can do before a test is get really relaxed so that our Einstein brain just works. But we do it the other way. We get all stressed, and then we wonder why we screw up on tests. Well, now you understand. And we can apply this to nearly every situation that we find ourselves in, where stress, chronic stress, does us absolutely no good because it's not a necessary component in most of our day-to-day activities. And when we come back on, what is today? Thursday. So when we come back on Tuesday, we're going to look specifically at what happens when we do have this continuation of stress longer than two or 3 minutes, where it becomes chronic. And so we'll call that good for today. Are there any questions? Thoughts? Yes.
And in the baseball example, though, like if you're in a game,
Hold on one
and
second.
it's like a close call or a close game, I think naturally there's going to be some stress. So a lot of times people will say, well, you need to just channel that stress.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on that?
There's a certain amount of stress that is absolutely beneficial.
Okay,
We
so
call it eustress. And we'll go talk about that right at the beginning because that's a great, great thought.